Back to MC. Thank you, Mr. Sushi Rizal. It was a very beautiful session. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Feeling a butterfly is different thing. Okay, now we have come to the next phase of our meeting, our forum, and it is evaluation. So you have all presenting here, even prepared speech or be it table topic, butterfly session, all of us on this forum. So right now he just left giving a motivational speech, but we still want to hear more from him. Let us welcome Mr. Ramlal sir on the stage for evaluation.
Paul Buxton said, "The longer I live, the more deeply am I convinced that that which makes the difference between one man and another, between the weak and the powerful, between the great and the insignificant, is energy. Invincible determination, a purpose once formed, and then death or victory." Remember, friends, we witnessed one of the finest sessions this morning. Every time I attend a SICASA Speakers Forum meeting, I learn a lot of things. I take back home a lot of messages. And that is what all of us can do when you attend these sessions on a regular basis. Imagine if today's presentation, I think every one of you spoke wonderfully well. The ultimate purpose of this forum is to see that you shed your inhibitions and fears related to communication. And that happens only when you speak on a regular basis. Today's meeting was really outstanding because I heard those prepared speeches. I was really floored. Imagine if these speeches and if this meeting were presented on a higher level of energy. It would have been one of the finest meetings you would have ever attended. Because everyone spoke so beautifully. One thing that was missing in the entire session was energy, the levels of energy. Whatever you said, if you had said with a lot of conviction and power, it would have made a greater impact on the minds of the audiences. Whatever you said did make a great impact, but it would have embedded on the minds, subconscious minds of the people who are sitting here, if you had said the same thing with a lot of energy. So that means, it doesn't mean that you are not speaking well. It means that you are speaking well, but you do not know how to speak well. Right? So incorporate the same things that you said and say it with a lot of power. Say it with a lot of conviction. Say it with a lot of authority. When you are on the stage, you are the master of the stage. Remember that. Right? Today's meeting, started a little late, 8:10. But I suggest that as professionals, we're going to see a professionals, right? As a professional, we ought to see that we are here on time and start the meeting on time. Right? Because that talks a lot about our personalities. Time is the key, the essence to anyone's progress. Because all of us have the same time, but it is the successful people who use time to the optimum level. All of us have 24 hours a day. Nobody has anything extra, nothing less. Perhaps it's the only thing in the world that is given to each one of us in equal proportions. All other things may be different. Someone may be handsome, someone may not be handsome, someone may be beautiful, someone may have a lot of riches, someone may be poor. But one thing which cannot be taken off from you is the 24 hours. And so that is why time is very essential. We start on time, we close on time, so that we show some kind of professionalism. Right? I would like to reiterate that whenever I am here as an evaluator, so that it gets imprinted on your subconscious mind. Not that you're doing a great job. You're doing splendidly well as far as this entire conduct of the meeting is concerned. But then please incorporate time as well, so that it appears professional to people who observe, people who come as newcomers on that particular thing. I think Yagya Gair started off wonderfully well. He talked about today's theme, pushing the envelope, very beautifully, enunciated with all that talking about it's an idiomatic expression which is never used on a regular basis, pushing to the, level, it is pushing yourself beyond your limits. That's what he explained to us. I think every time we get a new theme like this, we should break it down to simpler terms which the audience understands. I think he did a great job in saying that we have to push ourselves beyond our present limits. We have to walk the extra mile if we really want to succeed in life. And that is exactly, and he did it beautifully well. He started off with the inspiring methods that he talked about. Then the weaknesses. He said, try to, improve on your weakness, work on your weaknesses, and build on your strengths. In fact, that is the purpose we are all here for. Every speakers forum meeting should make us better human beings, and that happens when we work on our strengths. All of us have some kind of strengths, all of us have some kind of talents. So it is progress in those areas that we have to look for, and whatever weaknesses are there, we may not be able to get over them, but at least we have to bridge them. No one should ever notice what weaknesses I possess, right? So can I do it through my strengths? And I think he did a great job. One suggestion I have, at the end of the talk, don't ever say thank you all, because in these meetings, the audience learns a lot from your presentation. So you should, they should be thankful to you, strictly speaking. Every speaker, I find that some of the speakers saying thank you at the end of the speech. Never conclude your talk with thank you, because outside outside meetings, people always end it up with saying thank you, because they don't know how to end it. Now, if you are a real good communicator, you will really freeze the ending. You will know exactly what I'm going to say in the end. And people should realize that you have come to the end of your talk. When you say thank you, of course you are ending the talk, but that is everybody does that. But how differently you do it is what is to be displayed here. That is what is to be learned through the processes that we employ in these meetings. I think he did a great job. We should give him a fantastic talk, because it is the Sergeant at Arms who actually sets the ball rolling. He is the one who sets the momentum, gives a lot of fillip, a lot of energy to the meeting. And I think the more I listen to him, the more I get floored by whatever he says, because I think he does a lot of research before he comes over here. And if you ought to become good speakers, you too have to do the same. You have to do a lot of research on what you're talking. It doesn't matter what you talk about. It doesn't really matter. Okay, you don't have to talk on the theme as speakers. Of course, as Sergeant at Arms and President, they'll have to address the topic of the theme of the day. But others don't have to. So whatever subject you have chosen, you do a lot of research, your own experiences, incorporate that in your presentation. It becomes much more meaningful. People will enjoy it. In fact, I enjoyed all your talks today. Every one of you, the way Jagdish spoke, the way Jay Kumari spoke, beautifully well. So nicely. They talked in such simple language with such clarity that all of us can do it. It shows that all of us can do it. We do it outside. Why can't we do it from the stage? So that you get noticed. Why do you have to speak from the stage? You have to get noticed. It's only when you get noticed you get to succeed in life. Right? Otherwise no one will ever notice you. In the outside world, millions of people walk on the street. Who gets noticed? It's the person who is able to communicate effectively and appropriately. Right? This is the area this is the place where you have to learn and display it in the outside world. I think you're doing a great job. And then he presented the president to us, Sagar Basyal, and Sagar also, his opening, if you notice his opening statement, he said it very mildly, but it's a very beautiful statement. I don't know how many of you noticed it. Oh, remember, whenever you speak to an audience, the opening and conclusion have to be frozen before you stand in front of an audience. These are the two things that you need to freeze. As I started off, when I came on the stage now today, you know what I opened with. So I had frozen it. Come what may, I'm not going to change that. Right? So you have to freeze the opening and conclusion. What you say in between, people will buy it after that. right? Once you get these two things blocked, other things people will bite unconsciously or consciously. So you don't have to worry much about it. I think you know what he said? He said everything is possible. He said it very mildly, but imagine if he had said that with power. Everything is possible. The impossible takes a little longer. How many of you got that message? Very few got that message because he said it so, softly. It's a statement which should be uttered with power. Impossible takes a little longer. That means everything is possible. Nothing is impossible in this world. What a beautiful statement. A lovely opening, and he, enunciated, he talked alongside, he kept on giving us his swimming example, how he did well, and he also gave us the eagle example, which told us that pushing the envelope, which actually was in line with the theme of the day, right? So beautifully done. The giraffe also, I am told, kicks its little one to get up the moment it lays the young one. The moment the young one comes out of the giraffe's tummy, I believe it kicks the young one to stand up. Do you believe that? A mother doing that? It kicks, and it kicks as long as it does not stand up. And the young one stands up immediately. The moment it comes out into the world, it stands immediately. And that's what the eagle also does. It pushes the young one. So unless you push your limits, you don't know what you're capable of. How do you know what you can do? Unless you really try, push yourself, try, right? So I think beautiful theme for the day, a wonderful address, and he also concluded it beautifully well. I don't know how many of you got that conclusion as well. Very few of you, notice the opening. These are things which you have to notice whenever someone is speaking. What is that message I can take home? Otherwise we are wasting our time, right? I've got this message, I've written them, I'm going to take this home. I hear this very often everywhere, but still I take it back home because every time I hear, it gets reinforced in my own system. My own DNA comes to believe that this is what is the truth. And when your DNA believes that, your body automatically moves in that direction. You automatically become what you see yourself as. Right? And you know what he said? The only limit in our life is the limit we set ourselves. Right? The only limit, all other limits are set by others. They say you have to run only 100 meters. That is set by others. You have to get 90%, set by others. The only limit actually you set for yourself is what you believe. 100 is not the closing point. I am going to go beyond 100% if possible. That should be our intention, our passion in life. I should go beyond pushing the envelope, not even pushing the envelope, beyond that. Not even the extra mile. Can I go beyond the extra mile? So that is what we learn from this. Can we ask you to give Great. And then Mr. Sisir came on, he talked about, he read the minutes beautifully of the previous meeting. Can you see how fast he read? He did not waste time, right? Because minutes is what happened the last time. You're just telling us, reminding us what exactly happened, and he did it very fast. Some of us are not so fast in reading. I think it has to be read as a matter of regularity, but that doesn't mean we should spend much time on that. Right? We should know exactly. And he read it very beautifully fast. How many of you noticed that? Of course, it doesn't mean that all of you should read it that fast. You should read it faster enough and with clarity. And I think I followed everything that he said, beautifully read out, so I liked the speed with which you read. So shall we give him a round of applause? He introduced the MC, that is where we should make a difference. The secretary doesn't introduce the MC, it is the president. The president is the CEO of the organization, of any organization. So he is the one who has the entire control of the meeting. right? The VP Education no doubt decides the educational aspect of the meeting. In this case, I believe Mr. Yagya Gair is the VP Education. He decides the quality of the meetings, the education that we learn. But the President is the one who is overall in charge. So he should have introduced the MC. It is your task to introduce the MC. You call the secretary to read the minutes. After he completes reading the minutes, then you take charge back and then introduce the MC. It is your prerogative. Don't give it to somebody else, right? When he is the president, he can do it, no doubt. Because one more thing you should learn is in these meetings, the charge keeps, being transferred from committee of officers keeps changing every 6 months or one year. I don't know. Every 6 months is it? Every 6 months or 1 year, the committee of officers change. So it is likely that he may become the president next time and he can introduce the MC himself. What he did today. So right, the president's prerogative to introduce the MC. And remember, I think when you introduce the MC, introduction of a person also is an art. It is an art that we ought to learn, right? It is there in maybe in your manuals, I don't know how many of you. And before you present the speakers, the regular speakers, you should also tell the objectives of that project. What is the objectives of the project? So you have to, so that the audience gets to know what that speech is trying to attain. What is the purpose of that speech? Like today in the prepared speech session, we had three speeches, right? 3 speeches. The first one was Jagdish, and then, of course, I'll come to the MC later. First one was Jagdish. Jagdish was superb, actually. There was no, you should fix the individual evaluators also. One thing is, every speech is individually evaluated. So someone else gets an opportunity to evaluate that speech. Now, evaluation is also an art. It is an art that you ought to learn. Not, you must be able to tell what is the shortcoming in the speech without offending the speaker. You are not actually evaluating the speaker, you are evaluating the speech, not the person. We are not trying to find fault with the person, we are trying to find fault with the lack in the presentation. What is lacking? Right? Based on the objectives, again, based on the objectives. Every speech presentation has an objective, and these objectives have to be read in the beginning. Objectives have to be read, and then at the end of that, the individual evaluator will tell the speaker in particular where he needs to improve. What are the areas he needs to improve? What are the areas he has done well? I think, since there are no individual evaluators today, I loved is there? You're doing Jagdish? Okay. Can I ask Sisir to make his observations, please, about Jagdish's presentation, and then I'll make my own observations.
He started with the story on the first, which was good. In the speeches, he related with the own story of CA, I think, which might have get interested with the audience. He was little nervous in the beginning, but he overcome of that with the flow of the speech. Little rush in the beginning also. He can work on the voice modulation. He has the same speech, same pitch.
Thank you. Thank you. I concur with the last thing. I concur with whatever he said, but the last one in particular, because he said, you had a fantastic talk in place. You have, structured it so beautifully well. The way he started was really good. The way he said, why should I stick? Right? He started out with that. Why should I stick? That's not my job. I am a CS student. Why should I do that? Right? Beautifully, he led. Using that anecdote, he led us into the topic. Can you see how well he did that? He used some incident to lead the audience into the topic. He was talking about RFID, radio frequency, right? Identification. And he also told us very clearly through the way many of us must have traveled by metro, right? So we know what we do there. Even I didn't know. The beautiful way he explained, I understood. How is it able to calculate what token I have bought for? What is the distance for which I have bought from where I'm logging in and where I'm getting out? How does the machine or the system know that I have given the right amount, I have paid the right amount? And he beautifully explained, saying that once that identifies you, where you have boarded the train, metro, and where you're going to get down, and it calculates automatically. It's all fed into the system, right? Very beautifully done. Yeah, I mean, he explained it with that Hilton hotel example that he worked for. I believe during the break I asked him whether it's really true, whether it was made up. Some of us who are very good at speaking, we can even make up mock and bull stories and then tell the audiences. But I believe it is really true. He really did that, right? It takes guts to, tell somebody, that, especially when you're going to learn something, when you're on training, to tell somebody that's not my job. Right? A person who really wants to learn, he will not say that. He will initially he will succumb to whatever is being said. Later he'll show up his real, nature. But in the first place he did that. It's really great. And then the way he led us through all that, RFID was wonderful examples, lovely examples. And then in the end again he said thank you. Don't say thank you again. Very good talk. Language also was good enough because there were a few grammatical errors that the grammarian will tell us where the grammatical errors lie. Only suggestion I have for you is energy. Because if you had talked that kind of talk with a lot of energy, imagine all these people say, when am I going to talk like Jagdish? Yes, that's the kind. What a lovely flow, how you put all that together is simply great. It's marvelous actually, marvelous presentation. But like your evaluator said, all through the same tone. There must be passion in what you're saying. It is your talk, it is your life, what you experience. No one has experienced. How should you say it? Right? With a lot of guts. But lovely talk. It won't, anyway, it will not take away credit from what you made. So let's give a round of applause. The next one was Mr. Kapil Bhatt from Nepal. And I never knew that you had to go to a different country to buy fruits and vegetables. That's what I learned from his talk. So his individual letter again is Sisir. So can I have your observations, please?
Hands were back in the starting. If you see, the hands were back, and few times the hands were closed. You were playing and shaking with your hand, like this, which can be avoided through practice, and which distract the audience also, which will not capture. So you're moving back and ahead while speaking. This you are doing. You can avoid that. The eye contact, a few times you are looking down, which you can flow with the right side to left or from the left side to right side. If you find difficult, you can work on voice modulation. Same, the pitch was same. Speech was well prepared. More practice can do more better.
Yes. Good. Very good individual evaluation. I also totally concur with what he said. That is nervousness. Initially, it happens to all of us. We don't know where to keep these hands. So we'll either keep it behind. Some of us keep it in our pocket. Some of us fold it like this. Okay. Don't worry about it. Initially, this is your first talk. First time you're addressing an audience. Very well done. You told us beautifully well how you used your cousin's example to inspire your parents to take your path. That was a good one. That is the best way to sell. If you want to sell yourself, you should learn something from his presentation. Right? He used his cousin's example to tell his parents to see that they allow him to pursue what he wants to do. And he did that. He succeeded in that. That is true selling. Right? And that is what we are doing through our communication. Remember that. And when you're talking to audiences, those are examples which you should use to propagate your message. And I think he did very well there. Very nice talk. And somewhere during the talk you said, I'm not better. Remember? You said, I'm not better. I'm better at communication. Never ever tell an audience that you're not good. Right? You're actually belittling your own confidence. One is you're belittling your own confidence. Another is you're putting yourself down in front of an audience. Why do you have to tell them what is going to be evident as you keep talking? Right? If I'm not better, they'll come to know anyway. Why should I tell them? Make it all the more true. Let them think. It may be right, may not be right. Right? Let them feel, I mean, I'm not better or I'm really good. So let them leave it to their, good wisdom. Don't ever apologize in front of an audience. Don't ever tell an audience I do not know. Don't ever tell anything that belittles you in front of an audience. Because here you want to grow in confidence. You want to become that communicator who people will look up to. Right? And why should you tell them? And even if you don't tell them, they'll come to know anyway. So why should you tell them at all? Right? So never apologize. And even if your legs are shaking, let them keep shaking. Your purpose is, why are you here? To continue to talk. So the day you continue to talk while your legs are shaking, that day you become successful. But don't let the others know, because they may be shaking inside your pants. No one will know. Right? So the next speech was presented by Ms. Jay Kumari. Any evaluations? Oh, very good. We have they are evaluating her individually.
Miss Jaya Kumari, she is a regular member of our forum. So the first day when you saw her and today, you can see a tremendous change. Like she has improved a lot. Like this forum had taught her a lot, and it took her 16th meeting. And today also I can say that she could have done better. So you have to keep coming to the forum. That is the message we can get from our talk. Coming to our talk, like always one thing I find in your talk is there always lacks opening body and conclusion, this thing. Because she concludes multiple times. You say, okay, I'll conclude, then again you catch back the point. So that is one thing you have to, like Mr. Ramlal sir told, opening and conclusion at least should be phrased. Body you can zigzag, up and down can happen. That is the major thing which you have to work on. And the little more bit of practice. And that nervousness, somehow you have to fear it away. Think these people are not people, think them as dolls or something. Treat them as statues or something, just talk. Talk confidently. That is one thing I could recommend. Now while I at her, today she used a beautiful rhetorical device in her speech. Earthquake, she connected earthquake to her sister. So that was a wonderful thing in a speech. So this is one learning point we can do. It's a rhetorical device. It's called something like maybe a metaphor or something. I also have to do some research on that. Then there are a few grammatical things which could have been observed, like can put, some words would have been could have given. Can put could have been could. Then took my name correctly, pronounced my name correctly or spelled my name correctly. That much only. For the age you mentioned, that much only, that is not required. Or I was that little, you could have just say like she was I was 12 or something is what you were trying to tell, and that much only was the thing that was not required. Overall a wonderful talk. There is still a room for improvement.
Thank you, Mr. Yagya Gair. I think that was a lovely talk, the way she narrated the entire story from her childhood till now, right? And the language she used was very simple, very narrative, very understandable, and we all loved the presentation. What I liked most was the opening. She said, "Have you ever seen God?" Right? I was wondering, was she going to discuss about God? Then suddenly said, "I have seen," and many of you said, "No, I have seen," and she's talking about her parents. Right? That's the beauty of an opening. Can you see how beautifully you can open?
Yes, yes.
How you can get the attention of the audience? All of us were with her when she said, "Have you ever seen God?" We were wondering whether she was going to talk about God. She spoke beautifully. She compared her sister to earthquake, and she compared herself to be a Jwalamukhi and all that. But then I didn't see that Jwalamukhi, presentation. She spoke very smoothly, very lovely voice, but then you need to put a little more power behind what you said. Whatever that Jwalamukhi you exhibit at home, should exhibit here. If you want to be a renowned speaker, remember that. You spoke beautifully well, no doubt. I don't discount that. There were a lot of ahs that you have to eliminate. If you don't know what to say, don't say ah. Just keep quiet. And then start off with your next sentence. That plastic incident also is very good. Many of us are used to such pranks when we were young, right? We can all recall what pranks we did when we were young. And through your presentation, I could also recall some of mine. Excellent conclusion, but then as the individual evaluator said, you moved from one conclusion to another. Once you say the last thing, never ever go over it again. The last thing said, simply walk off the stage. Because people should still long to hear you. That is the stage. That is the time you should leave the stage. People should still want to listen to you. If you leave the stage at that time, every time they will want to listen. You have to make it a point to see that once I conclude, nothing more. Anything you say after that, it dilutes the entire impact that you created along the process. Okay? So after and also you quoted that beautifully well in the end, but you know how you conclude is something like that. Conclusions don't end like something like that. When you know the exact meaning of what you said in the end, you said some quotation, you have to clearly tell them that is final, nothing else is right. Something else may be right really, but when you talk, you are the authority. Right or wrong, whatever you say is right. So you should show that in your presentation. So it's all presentation skills ultimately. That's what wins. I think you did a great job. Remove that R's and all that. Like you said, if you do a little more practice, those R's will automatically disappear. And then we move to Mr. Cecil Rizal, right?
Rizal.
I wrote it Cecil Rizal, so I wanted to pronounce his name. Some of these Nepali names, I know only half of them. I want to know the full names, so I've written it down Cecil Rizal, right? So I want to pronounce them correctly also. Sagar Basyal, correct. And then Yagya Gaire. So I used to say Gair because
Foreign. Because he is a foreigner.
Because he is a foreigner anyway to us. But Nepalis are not foreigners, Nepalis are Indians. For your information, I have gone into Nepal without any passport, you can simply walk into Nepal and walk out of Nepal with your own rupees. I do not know if this same situation exists now. I did that somewhere in 1980, quite long back, right? So today I do not know what is the situation, whether we have to carry a passport to get into Nepal. I simply walked in, walked out. I use the same rupees. I used to get change back in their currency if I pay Indian rupees.
But now it is difficult.
Now it is difficult. See, I used to get that so easy it was getting into, and I can always call myself I'm a foreign return guy. I would have simply walked into Nepal. Yeah, that's the first foreign country that I ever visited. In fact, I mean nice people, and that's more a Hindu country than probably India is. If you go there, you will find that they follow more of these Hindu systems than we see in and around in India. I think the subjects that he brought out were simply beautiful. Chicken biryani, mutton biryani, right? Straight away.
Awesome.
What does the speaker have to say? Should he eat chicken biryani or mutton biryani? Or should he, prepare, or should he treat us? He doesn't know what to say. Simply chicken biryani, mutton biryani. What to do with it? He should that was a good one, the way he started off. And then child is the father of man. Of course, it got Yagya out of,
yes, I will start
right? Child is the father. It is said psychologically that child is the father. But Yagya, of course, beautifully wove around the story and said that the child incidentally becomes the man and becomes the father, right? Biologically, he used Darwin's theory of evolution to make him child becoming man and then evolving. So that was a good one. It doesn't really marriage and this subject, marriage bliss or disaster, asking a person who is not married is it is asking for the wrong cup of tea, right? Tea with salt. So he doesn't know what is marriage. You're asking him whether disaster or a boon or bane. How does he know? So ask a married man, he'll tell you very clearly, undoubtedly, whether it's a disaster or a bliss, right? And then beautiful topics, selling a pen, he did beautifully, selling a pen. Some suggestions I have for the, onlookers, never ever disturb when a person is commenting on a particular topic. Never disturb. You may have your own opinion, but don't disturb his or her flow of thoughts. So when you do that, what happens is he loses track of what he's saying. So these are general rules. One is that when someone is talking, don't get into the talk, so that you don't disturb his flow of thoughts, right? Either it's a prepared speech or butterfly session. We should never interfere. That is one thing. It's okay, you can laugh, but then never interfere, never give your opinion. That is one thing I noticed. And no movement when someone is speaking. When someone is on the stage, please do not move around. We should respect the speaker. Whatever you want to do should be done before the start of the meeting, or if at all there's an emergency that you need to move, wait for the applause, because every speech ends with an applause, right? During the applause time you can move. During the applause time. So that is one thing I noticed, and I also noticed some of the discussions were happening while speakers were presenting their talks. Some discussions were happening. I could hear from the back. So what happens? It disturbs the speaker again. So you should respect this. These are things. They'll make you a professional organization. You want to be a professional. You're a professional as such. You want SICASA Forum also to be professional. You have to incorporate these guidelines, and don't ever say thanks in the end. Discussion, that is over, and then do not disturb speaking while. Right. That's all. And another thing is, when someone is asks you to come to the stage, address that person, and then get on with your topic. So if the MC introduces me, I'll say Mr. MC, and then address the audience. Mr. MC, fellow speakers, this is what I'm going to talk about. Or if the sergeant, only the sergeant at arms we don't address. President, when president is introducing the MC will say Mr. President, fellow speakers, and so it's a professional way. You build all this into your curriculum. No doubt it has been a splendid meeting. No doubt it has been one wonderful meeting. These things will make it even more special, right? I think I'm done with my evaluation, but I have my assignees who are going to complete the rest of it. First, I think I'll take the timer's opinion. Varsha, can you give it from there? What does the time take?
Exceptions.
Yeah, exceptions only.
Mr. Jagdish took a long time. It was the time, prepared speech time was given of 7 minutes, and he took 8 minutes 36 seconds. And next, in prepared speech, Kapil took less, he was okay, he took 5 minutes 35 seconds. And Jaykumari, even she logged the time, she took 7 minutes 50 seconds. Then the butterfly speakers, the least time taken was Dipendra, he took only 25 seconds. And next is Balaji, took only 43 seconds. And Mr. Mahesh and Ms. Shweta, they both took 1 minute, and rest all were.
Thank you for your observations. Shall we give her a round of applause? I have the grammarian Yadya Gare, please. Your observations.
Thank you, sir. As a grammarian, I have tried to do my best to note out few of the good uses of words, as well as few common grammatical errors. Word drowned or something came on the talk. It could have been drowned. I was drowned or something like that. Then forcing me could have been forced me. Finally is a filler. Better avoid that filler. You have swim is you swam. Small eagles could have been a eagle child or something, maybe another appropriate term. The first time could have been a first day, right from the first day. In Jagdish, he did very good actually. There are not much of an issue except for that milk thing. Hot the milk was the term that came out. It is boil the milk. Then we try to include informal thing like that. This is one thing which I observe. We are very informal when we tell right, or this is something no, this is something right. Instead of that, there are something called, I don't know what they are called, but there are some words which you can use. Isn't it, and isn't that, and it. So that right could have been isn't it or something like that.
I'll just conclude again. Whenever you are in a speech, don't just you ignore the timer. Like timer's role is to keep that red card, or as for that any other card also in the air for as long as you conclude. So you ignore them and you have to focus on concluding as soon as possible. So emerging technologies, a good use of word I could say. Insisting phrase could have been little good. ODR is a good word which we have seen in use today. Failed badly, if failed is more than enough, I think is again a filler not required in my speech. We shouldn't limit to us. We shouldn't limit to us could have been. We shouldn't
Limit ourselves.
Limit ourselves. So assist is insist actually. Assisted me, not insisted me to come and wake up. Foundation, infrastructures are all the good uses of words we have seen. So could have been pronounced in a little effective manner. Are so much vehicle in Bangalore. There are many vehicles in Bangalore. A good environmental is a good environment. Let's take a situation. That itself a situation was given actually. There was not much. This is fine. If motivational speech means it is also fine. I think better your employees don't have a union. I hope your company doesn't have an employees union. Being in marketing could have been as a marketer or as a salesman, as a salesperson. I would say diversity. Diversity is another good word which we saw, which we heard today. What is that? I am lagging. There was a repetition, maybe most likely because of nervousness that will go away in just one time. I paint blue. I would paint blue, or I would paint green, yellow, whatever for that matter. Evolve is again another word which I have noted down. Hidden soldiers above the crowd. Awesome phrase awesome use of phrase. Out, cultivate. Out is used for should, and whenever you speak, it gives you more power than should. Should we keep on hearing it? So out is a good replacement. Cultivate, shred, innovation, incorporate, walking the extra mile, belittling, renounce, dilutes are all the good uses of words and phrases which you can see today, which you can take away from today's session. That's all. Over to Mr. Ramlal.
Thank you, Mr. Edgar Gare. I have one suggestion as a grammarian. Please limit your observations only to prepared speakers, because they come with prepared script. They should be sure that there are no grammatical errors. Opinion, those who are talking on a topic, they are likely to make mistakes because they are scared in the first place to talk. One is, I do not know what the subject is. Another is, I am not good at the language. And then you expect me to find grammar also to be correct. How does it happen? How can all these three things fall in place? They can fall in place provided I speak on a regular basis. So let's limit our grammatical errors only to prepared speakers. They are not supposed to make mistakes. President makes a mistake, you can notice. Prepared speakers makes a mistake, you can notice, because they have come prepared. So when they come prepared, they should not make errors, grammatical errors. But people who are not prepared, they are likely to make errors, and you should allow that freedom. That is when I'll improve my communication, right? If you're going to find fault, as an opinion giver, if you're going to find a mistake in my presentation, then I'll stop talking completely, correct? I'm talking about newcomers. Newcomers, no? They'll have that inhibition. So allow them the freedom to speak freely, because in fact, Malashri, one of your members and another person asked me, how can they see, both of them have the same concern. Why am I talking so long? It's just I'm trying to address their concern. Their concern is she's good at English. She has the command of English, whereas that person says he doesn't have the command of English. But both of them have the same fear. The fear is they are not able to communicate. When a person has good English, why is she not able to communicate? When a person doesn't have English, why is he not able to communicate? It is not that, it is not the grammar, it is not the language. What is the cause is the fear that erupts from inside, fear of the audience. That you have to get rid of. And that you can get rid of when you speak on a regular basis. Correct? How do you learn swimming? I am scared of water. Can I get in water if I am scared? I have to dive enough number of times so that I fall in love with water. Speak enough number of times so that you fall in love with your speaking. Others need not. You fall in love with what you are saying, right? This is what both of you should bring. Don't worry about grammar. Last. Grammarian is there to take care. Don't worry about that. Fire. Whatever you want to say, see, look at him. Whatever he wants to say, he says. Just fire. Don't bother. Grammar is for the grammarian. Grammarian takes care of that. It is his role. Why should I worry about grammar, right? My purpose is communicating. Whatever is burning inside me, I'll throw it out. It's for you to take it or leave it. Right? You have given me a chance to speak. So I'll speak. Better listen. Correct? Grammarian is there to take care of that. Others are there to take care of the rest of the things. So let me, be outspoken. That's the word. Today's word. Be outspoken. Doesn't matter. Wherever you are, express your views. Simply express your views with a lot of authority. Right or wrong does not really matter. In a table topic session, it doesn't matter whether you're saying, talking the right thing or the wrong thing. What matters is how well you're communicating. Ultimately, it is for the audience. They'll say, okay, he simply said something. That is their problem. You asked me to say, I said it, right? Why did you ask me in the first place? Tell me that. So allow me to say what I want to say. Correct? Beautiful. Okay, now we have the listener's role. Keep it short. You can ask her. And one more thing is, as a listener, she should have told us what her role is. That was said by somebody else. So my role, I should know what exactly my role is, and I should be able to communicate that to the audience. Okay? This is what you have to learn. This has to be done before the meeting starts.
Okay. I will ask some questions to you. How listen you? How much you are listening to my topic? Okay. How many antennas in the hotel? 2. Right. Okay. Famous person coming from which place to the hotel?
Bangalore. Karnataka, Bangalore.
Right. Okay. Kapil Dev father's occupation?
Teacher.
Okay. How much he got the percentage in second PU?
80%.
It's good. Who is the first contest in the butterfly session? First.
Jagdish.
No.
Butterfly.
What is the topic of Yagya? It's good. What is the objective of the World Bank? Right. Native place of Mahesh. Native place of Mahesh. Right. Okay. Prasad wake up at what time?
Today 4. I am the winner.
Which color Komal would like to paint it?
White.
Two colors.
White and green.
Maintain silence.
Brother calling Jaya. Okay. Our sister want to do what our sister. Right. How many days she was staying in Bangalore for the first time?
15 days.
Right.
Good. Thank you for that.
I got 3 correct answers.
Wonderful session. You know why this is incorporated? It is because to test your listening skills. Most of us, we may be physically present there, actually mentally we are elsewhere. So to test your listening skills, listening is one of the important aspects to improve your communication. I think effective communication is entirely based on listening. I think she did a great job and you two did a great job in answering. And finally, I say that the MC did a wonderful job knitting the whole thing together. He called people, at the appropriate time and introduced them very well. Very well done, superb. I think you need to talk a little on the theme of the today's, but of course you talked about success is not final and failure is not fatal. That was a good statement that you made. What counts is the courage to continue, right? So beautifully said. So all of you had wonderful statements. I loved especially today's meeting, and I learned a lot. I take back home many messages. And one thing I would like to end with, what I began with. Remember, the ability to speak is a shortcut to distinction. It puts a person in the limelight and raises him or her head and shoulders above the crowd. Mr. N.
Thank you, Ramlal sir. It's always a pleasure to hear him. I listened to many speakers like Ravi Shankar, Rajneesh, and other gurus and all. And similarly, the way he speaks also inspires us, gives us more motivations. So, thank you so much again. And I want to call upon the stage our president for closing remark.
Thank you everyone for your participation today, and thank you Ramlal sir for your presence, for your valuable remarks, valuable suggestion for us to improve. And it is always, we always receive valuable remarks from you. And today meeting was a bit late, so I request everybody to be on time. Only 8 members were there when it was 8 AM. So please, I request everyone to be on time so that we can start our meeting on time as said by Ramlal sir. So that time is very important factor. It is not like other program. 8 AM means dot 8 AM will start. So today we are not able to do that because of less member who were present at 8 AM. So try to be present in exactly before 8 AM. Try to reach here. And even though the program was started late, but it went well. And today we had 3 prepared speeches and some butterfly speakers. And I welcome some new members who were late, so I welcome all of them to the SICASA Speakers Forum. And thank you for your participation. And for role players, before doing your role, please confirm that, make sure that you are aware of your role and you know everything what is to be done. You can always ask me, we can send you the link. It is available in WhatsApp group also. If you are not in WhatsApp, please send mail to me. So that is the thing to be done. And from next meeting onwards, before all the role players will meet before 15 minutes, and then we'll discuss about the meeting so that no disturbance will be there in between of meeting. So with this, I would like to conclude the meeting of